Dr. Raymond Moody in his book In Life After Life mentioning about 150 people who have died. In after-death observations, 15 common things have been mentioned, the summary of which is as follows. In the case of death, a person suffers from extreme grief, and then he finds himself standing next to his body after death. That is, after death, he is now out of the body and looking at his body. Other dead relatives in the room would be there to welcome you. A stranger, it has to be taken towards an unknown destination. He is flying in the air, passes through the dark cave. There is light on the other side of the cave. There he is meeting with a light entity, who questions him about his life. And then his whole life in front of human eyes. It comes like a movie. Frederick W. H. Myers in his book, Human Personality and Its Survival of Bodily Death. A scientific analysis of hundreds of cases after doing so concluded that physical death later that part of human personality remains, which is called spirit. Death experiences in Plato's writings are often described. For example, Plato says that the material body of a living man when separated from spiritual existence, so this dead state I go, and the spiritual being of man freed from the restrictions of his material body which are due to this material body. That is, the body moves due to its substance and is limited in terms of speed, etc. But spiritual existence is free from these restrictions. Plato had this view of time, that it is an element of this physical life itself, and sometime in the afterlife does not hold status. There are other eternal elements. Who prevails over time? That is, after death we enter eternity, they leave time behind. The human self, when separated from the material body, so it happens his meeting with these souls is those who have already left the world. He also communicates with them, and they too, it helps to know the conditions of the world. They also comfort the newcomers and also guide him in the upcoming journey. It is also in the mind of the dying people that at the time of death a boat will come to take them to the other side of this world, will go where they have to live after death. Plato concludes from his research that this earthly body is a prison for human. Death is the name of freedom from these constraints. And then man reaches a wider world as seek breathes. According to Plato, this worldly life, it is the life of the less rational human self-consciousness. Before its birth it is established on high places. Descending from there, he enters this material body, becomes in this entity, material body. It is like falling asleep for him before entering the mundane body, the higher consciousness that the human self possessed. It is blurred by the density of the material body, and all those facts and truths which was known earlier they forget. Therefore, death will actually wake up. It's called bringing back old memories, after which human consciousness becomes very sharp. According to Plato, the human self, when the material body separates from the nature of things, very conscious of understanding reality. Pastor Ledbetter in his book, Invisible Helpers, I write about the astral body after death goes into the astral world. If the deceased is wicked, he wanders near the earth. He sees his inheritance in others, itches and burns. He of his colleagues grinds teeth on progress and life of enemies. After centuries of burning in this fire of mental anxiety, he is allowed to ascend to the upper class. These were old ideas, and today through modern research investigations are ongoing on aura, chakra, OBE, out-of-body experience, are also being conducted, which are observed that a living man without his physical body detached from the body and flying in the air passes across the wall. If he is outside his body is not affected by the injury, etc. Is there really life after life? Or a person dies and rises again? Or does a person take another birth after death? It is nothing like that. Neither has man died and risen again, neither is it life again, neither is it a second or third birth. Despite experience in observations, such assumptions are simply based on ignorance. Those who have no academic status. Those who say so are saying so because of their ignorance of the soul of man. Now that we have defined soul and self, so in fact now we have been able to understand what conditions a person suffers from after death, and now we will properly set forth these conditions after death.